Third grade, when I was about 8 years old, my mom and I moved to Mexico for a year and a half, while my dad stayed in the US to solve some financial problems with our house in San Jose. I was never excited with the idea. At the time, I've only been to Mexico once when I was 4, so I didn't know much of what to expect. We moved to Oakland, Jalisco, my mother's hometown, right after the winter break. We lived at my grandparents' old house, which was not very pleasant. Half of the house lacked flooring, the bathroom was in a little room outside the house with a sliding curtain as a door. There was a ton of fleas and mosquitoes everywhere and various holes in the walls where one time I saw a spider about this big come out. In the streets, I saw kids going from home to home barefoot, asking homeowners if they can throw away their trash for 1 peso, which is less than a cent. At the marketplace, I saw a man asking for money because he had a huge hole in the side of his cheek. It was so disturbing. I got so emotional thinking about what the poor man has gone through that I just held onto my grandpa's leg, covering my face. Coming from the Silicon Valley, I was never exposed to this level of poverty. Sure, I saw a homeless person here and there, but in this town, in Mexico, it was almost in every corner. School, things didn't start well either. Every day at lunch, my mom gave me 12 pesos, like about $1, which was exactly enough to buy a full meal consisting of an entree, a side, and a drink. The third day of school, I was eating my lunch when I noticed some kids wouldn't stop looking and pointing at me from the other side of the basketball court. I stopped paying attention to them and kept eating my lunch when all of a sudden one of the kids just pretended to accidentally run into me and knock down my food. I was like, what the heck? The kids thought what I said was funny and repeated it constantly, trying to make fun of me. The next day, I was walking out of my class towards the lunch line when I felt someone yank my hair. Yes, I had long hair, longer than my shoulders at the time, which was really easy just to pull it. It was one of the kids from a little group, and they just ran away and yelled, "Pinche niño gringo," meaning something like, "fucking little white boy." They kept teasing me and annoying me for the first 2 or 3 weeks until I made it change. One day, I was sitting at a bench near the student store when I saw the lunch lady arguing with one of the kids from the little group. I overheard the discussion, and the kid didn't have enough money to buy a single can of juice. I realized I've never seen most of these kids eat at all during lunch. Even though they treated me so unfair, I wanted to help him out. I had some leftover pesos, so I decided to offer the kid the rest of my money. He looked up to me with such confusion in his face, held the money in both hands, and looked up, saying nothing for a solid 5 seconds. After that, he said, "Muchas gracias, Dios te bendiga," meaning "thank you so much, God bless you," and he ran back to the line. Those lines absolutely touched me, and I felt so much joy being able to give back to him, even though he and his friends never treated me equally. It's funny because after that day, they stopped annoying me. They said hi to me here and there and invited me to play soccer with them at lunch. At first, I thought, wow, they just want me to spare them lunch or something when I have extra money. I was wrong. They never really asked me to buy them food or anything. One day, I was walking back to my grandma's house and saw one of the kids walk into a small, but super small, brick house that didn't have any flooring at all. Being that poor, it surprised me how they never asked me for anything. I figured that a lot of these kids just have a common stereotype stuck in their head about people who come from the US. They assume since I was from the US, I wear new shoes, clothes, speak English, and carry around a Game Boy, so I feel like I'm superior than them. This experience, I discovered so much about myself at a young age. Being able to live a life similar to what my parents did when they were young helped me become more humble, connect to my roots, and caring about others. Instead of being scared of a man with a hole in his cheek, I went with my grandma and left him some money and some food he can eat. I made myself comfortable with the life I was living in Mexico. I'm no longer worried about taking baths in the bathroom outside the house. It was the same my mom showered in when she was my age, so if she and other kids that bathe in even worse conditions can handle it, I should be able to handle it as well. And just like the kid offering to throw away people's garbage, I wanted to work to gain my own money. It sounds hard to believe that a third grader can get a job, but in this town, almost everyone worked to earn money to help their families. I opened a little candy stand outside my grandma's house and sold a decent amount of candy. I opened after school and made about 100 pesos a day, which was less than 10 bucks, but in Mexico, it was plenty for a boy my age. In conclusion, if it wasn't for this experience, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I feel like if I never moved to Mexico, I wouldn't have experienced how it's really like to be Mexican. Hardworking individuals who, regardless of the environment in which they live in, regardless of their financial problems, they will get up and keep working and working. I no longer make a fuss about where I go, where I live, how much money I have, because I know that in Mexico and many other places in the world, a lot of people live in much worse conditions.